friends. It is a Monday afternoon. It is 2 something, 2:20 p.m. It is 2:20 p.m. It is Eastern Standard Time. I am in New York City. It is a Monday, December 15th. We are 10 days away from Christmas, and I'm happy to be here with you. I just wanted to come on for a few minutes and say hello because I didn't talk to you over the weekend and I didn't talk to you on Friday. On Friday, I went to my daughter's school. They had a they had a winter festival at my daughter's school. They did it in the classrooms, so not a big assembly, just a little winter celebration in the classrooms. And so they invited the parents to come in, and so I went. There was just one other parent in the class that I was in. So we assisted the teacher, and then there was another teacher who came by. So we assisted the teacher to distribute things to the children. They had some snacks, they did a little craft, they played a little music. The kids were able to do a little dancing. We put on some little Christmas themed or winter themed accessories. So they distributed some little glasses to the kids, little paper glasses, and it was fun. We had a little fun. I was there for a little over an hour, and we had a good time. We had a good time. So I did that on Friday at the time that I probably would have come on live. So I wasn't able to do a live on the weekend, and then on Friday, and then the weekends for me are just kind of busy. Um, During the weekdays when my family is away, they're at school and work, I have a little more time that I can spend with you. On the weekend when they're here, we have our scheduled activities. We go to church, we go to visit my mother-in-law. We have to, get ready for the week, homework and all the things that need to be done. So I don't always have time to come on live. And even if I have time where I could say, okay, I'd come on here and just hang out with you for a few minutes, sometimes the family is here, we share the space. They don't want to be on the live. My husband doesn't want to be on the live. My daughter would like to be on the live sometimes. I don't I don't always want her to be on here. Um, I try to prevent overexposing her. So I don't always come on live on the weekends. Sometimes I'll try, sometimes. But over the weekend I finished a book. I meant to pick it up. Did I bring it? Didn't bring it. I don't know what I did with it. I was recording it in my journal, my reading journal. So you will hear me talk about it. I have a Vlogmas video that's going live later. I think I scheduled it for about 4 o'clock this afternoon. So you'll hear me talk about it in that video because I read the book while I was filming that video. So it's a James Patterson collaboration, Christmas themed fiction, and it was fun. It was a quick read. I read it almost in a day and a half, um, and I liked it. It was a kind of an adaptation, a fictional adaptation of the 12 Days of Christmas song. So what happens when this family starts receiving the gifts that are mentioned in the 12 Days of Christmas song. And the book deals with a theme that is a little difficult for me to read about, but it's also sometimes a little helpful for me to see in fiction. And that is the theme of grief. So in the book, the mother figure the mother figure dies, and we don't really know what she has died from. We know that she had an illness, and there's a mention of a diagnosis. We don't really meet her on the pages. We meet the family after she has been gone for several years. But it is about what they have lost when they lost their mom slash wife, the wife of the family, and how the people need to continue living, how they still need to take take what they got from her, what they got from their relationship with her, and still live. And as difficult as it is to read that in fiction, it's also what I know to be necessary, because while we are living, we have to figure out a way to navigate grief. You live long enough, you will lose people that you love, and you won't ever stop thinking about them. You won't ever forget them. And not talking about them, or not like shying away from things that are similar to your experience with them, that doesn't make you forget. Like, it doesn't make it any easier. So, you have to find a way to live with the grief. Um, so it's a theme that I don't necessarily seek out in books, but I'm also not avoiding books when I find that that is what they deal with, because in some ways it's a little helpful just to see how it's being written about, whether this is the experience of other people that I can see in books, or just seeing how maybe someone who has dealt with this situation as the author is writing about it and incorporating it in fiction. So that was a book that I finished over the weekend. James Patterson collaboration with Tad Safran, and it's called the 12 topsy-turvy, very messy days of Christmas. And yeah, so I read that. I'm also still reading this. I thought I would have been finished. I actually finished listening to the audio, which is not an actual um it's not a full it's not the full story. It doesn't include the prose, it only has the dialogue in the audio, because it's a full cast audio, like a play of this book. So this is No Fun Return of Love by Barbara Pym. Something that struck me as just really, really odd. I was reading, and um, so the premise of the story is really interesting, because it is about, about love triangles. It is about a love tetrahedron, a love pentagon. It's about this woman who kind of becomes obsessed with a man that her friend is kind of seeing, but not really. But she becomes obsessed with him, not necessarily for romantic reasons, but she starts to kind of stalk his family members, and then everything and everyone just gets really tangled up, to the point where everyone that they meet starts becoming connected to everyone else. And it's not even a love pentagon or a love octagon. It is like multiples. It's like, oh, um, it's like a crystal lattice. So when I was in college, I was studying material science and engineering, and we learned about crystal structure, how you would have the crystal structure where it is this shape repeated, um, to infinity, because it's just this shape being repeated over and over. That's what this book is. That's what this book is. It is a love, many sided diagram, but repeated, a love polygon many times over. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see how the all the characters get linked, and everybody's trying to avoid letting anyone else know how they're linked to these people. Barbara Pym is a fascinating author. However, there are a couple of things that were really jarring to me in reading the text. One is a mention of the N word, which was just really surprising, because it is it's, it's just there. It's just there as a nickname or like a name for an animal. And you're like, of all the words in the English language that you could use to call an animal, why would you use that word? Why would you use that word intentionally as an author? I just, I don't know how to process that information. So I wanted to go look it up to see if I could find like a scholarly review of this book where someone explains why that word is in there. But I also just didn't feel like I wanted to know. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing. And then, and then, because Barbara Pym was an older woman herself when she was writing this, she gives this line to a young female character in the book, referring to a 50-year-old woman and saying, "Oh, she's rather old. She's 50." And I was like, say what now? She says, she's talking about her teacher, and she says, heavens, will she be doing all that dining and traveling in her retirement? You're talking about this woman. And she says, I suppose that's rather unusual, right? Yes, I suppose it is. She's rather old, about 50. And I was like, Barbara Pym, don't let me come for you. Barbara Pym, don't let me come for you. First, anyway, I still intend to read all of the novels published by Barbara Pym, just because I have been fascinated about her career, that she wrote so many novels in her in her lifetime. She didn't publish all of her novels. There are a couple of them that were published after she passed away, but she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. She has 13 novels published. I think 1 or 2 of them were published posthumously, but in her lifetime, she published over 10 novels. She wrote all of those. She knew how to write. She didn't receive the critical acclaim and all the accolades when she was a young writer, when she was like new to writing and publishing. A lot of that came much, much later, after her work had been almost forgotten. And so I want to read her books. I want to read her. I don't think that she is, I don't think her these statements are prejudicial necessarily, but I just like, why? Why are those things in the book? Anyway, I will tell you more about it when I'm finished. So I have this project. I tell you about this project every time I come on here. I have this project where I am trying to read these 3 authors, Muriel Spark, Barbara Pym, and Toni Morrison. I'm trying to read all their works. The colors that are blocked in tell you what books, how many of the books I have read from each of these authors. At the top is Muriel Spark. She has a lot more publications, and I've also read maybe a few more. Barbara Pym is in the middle. She has, like I said, 13 novels, and so far I've read 6. And when I'm finished with this, I'm going to be reading the 7th because I have it here, and I'm going to be buddy reading it with some friends. And then at the bottom is Toni Morrison, who has 2, 4, 6, 12. She has 12 novels. One of them is a short, like a novella. But I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've read 5, and I've really read the 6th, but I'm going to be rereading that, so I didn't mark it in here. And then I have another one out from the library, which I intend to, and I got the audio download as well, so I'm going to be reading that pretty soon as well. Catching you up on my 10 before the end challenge. This book was on it. Yeah, this book was on it. So with that book, I will have finished 5 books for the challenge. So that's halfway to reading my 10 before the end stack. So 5 finished, 5 to go. Of the five to go, I've started a couple of them and just haven't made too much progress. So we might have to restart some of those. But I'm still thinking that I'll be able to finish that challenge by the end of the year. I'm hoping. I mean, that was the reason for, um, identifying the stack of books that I wanted to read. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to do it. Aside from that, my number reading goal for the year was 120 books. Right now, I don't think I'll be making that because I just finished my 96th book. In order to get to 120 books before the end of the year, I would have to read 24 books in 16 days. And it's not impossible. It's not an impossible task because I have some books that I am currently reading that I could finish off. And I'm reading some books with my daughter. Some of them are genuine literary quality books. I'm not just reading like a bunch of baby board books to meet a number goal, but like quite a few of them are books that are legitimate books that I would count for my reading challenge, whether I read them with my daughter or read them on my own. Like I picked up, perfect example. I picked up a copy of Stuart Little from the library last week. I showed you this in my library haul on my Vlogmas video on Friday. So Stuart Little by E.B. White. He's the author. E.B. White. E.B. White's a man, right? I feel like. I hope I'm not misgendering. I think so. In any case, E.B. White wrote Charlotte's Web, which is a book that I read on my own a couple of years ago and counted it toward my reading goal. This is another book which is short, illustrated, illustrated. So when I read this with my daughter or by myself, I will count this. If I identify 24 books like this, I could definitely read these by the end of the year. I could meet my number goal. I could. But I'm not as concerned with meeting the goal as I am with reading the books that I want to read. So while I think I know how I could actually meet the goal and do it kind of easily, it's not that really is not my priority. My priority is reading the books that I say I want to read and that I know that I will enjoy when I read them for the most part. So I'm gonna just keep plodding along. 16 days until the end of the year. I will see how I do. I'll see how I do. If I get to 100, that will be great. My plan is to get to 100 before the end of this week. Because Christmas week has its own activities. So I'm hoping to finish 4 books by the end of this week, so that I will get to 100 books, and I'll let you know about that when I do. But as to the other 20, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So I am going to do a little reading because that's why I came on here. I'm trying to finish this book today. I just have a few pages, and I know how the story goes, so um, I'm not like rereading things, which is sometimes what takes me a little while. But I'm going to read that. So we're going to have a little reading sprint for maybe 15 minutes, and I'll see how far I can get to. And you let me know if you're reading as well, how far you get to. Welcome to all of you who are joining live. Welcome to anyone, all of you. I know some people watch these. Some of you watch these as a recordings, and I absolutely love that you do that because it makes me happy that even when you are not able to give me instant feedback, that you are still sharing space with me and listening to me while you do whatever else it is that you do, whether you're reading or writing or watching a video or doing housework or doing paid work or whatever it is that you're doing when you let my videos play and you listen to me talk. I appreciate you sharing that space with me and allowing me to make contact with you. So thank you so much. And I'd love to read your comments. If you are doing that, let me know that you are doing that so we can, just keep in touch. So we're going to put 15 minutes on the clock. 15 minutes, kind of starting now. And so we're going to be reading until it is it's 2:42. So we'll read until 2:55, 2:57. And then we'll do a little wrap up because I'm going to have to leave after that. Okay. So this is what I'm reading. If you're reading too, let me know in the comments down below what you're reading. So, just a quick pause to regale you with a story from Barbara Pym, because she breaks that fourth wall with her readers quite often. I shouldn't say quite often, like it doesn't happen on every page of the book, but it happens in most of the books that I have read. So, we have two characters talking to each other and about someone else that they have seen. And she says, "What odd people they were, like characters in a novel." Hate to break this to you, Viola. You're also a character in the novel. And then later she says, "It's the fourth dimension, isn't it?" Or something like that. I wish I sometimes that I knew something about philosophy. It's like you do, because you're actually doing that. You're living it right now. I It's one of the things that endears Barbara Pym's work to me. Okay, so I'm at the end of my chapter, which is why I took an extra minute or so. So I've been reading No Found Return of Love by Barbara Pym, and I just have about 30 pages left. No, a little bit more. But I will probably finish it this evening. I was listening to the audio. I requested an audio accompaniment from my library, and what I received was a full cast play. And so I listened to that so I know how the story goes, but it didn't have it didn't have everything that the novel has. So I've been rereading or reading the novel, I guess, for the first time. I've been reading the novel and really enjoying it. Barbara Pym is a favorite author of mine. I don't know where I would rank her, top 10, top 20. I'm not sure. I would have to think about who my top authors are. And it's not enough to say you've read one or two books from an author and they're in your top number. I don't think. I don't know. I guess it depends on how many books the author has published. We'll give that some thought. Anyway, I can't explore that as a concept right now. I really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with me today. I look forward to being here with you, hopefully tomorrow. As we get a little closer to Christmas Day, I have a few more things that I have to do during the day, and so I may not be able to be on here every day this week, but I will come on as often as I can. And of course, I'm trying to post these Vlogmas videos. I did not make a video. I didn't have a video to post over the weekend. I had some ideas of videos that I wanted to make. I just wasn't able to make them. So I made a video over the weekend and posted it today. So it's my Vlogmas day 15, which should come live on the channel, I think at about 4:30 this afternoon. So look out for it if you can. I really appreciate your being here with me. As I've said before, I I was reading this. I also chatted a little bit about the book that I finished reading over the weekend, which was James Patterson and Tad Safran, The 12 Topsy Turvy Very Merry Days of Christmas. And I will be talking about that in the vlog that comes out at 4:30. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that book, go watch that video. I'm trying to make my Vlogmas videos about 5 or 6 minutes long. I don't want them to be too long. I don't want them to be overwhelming. I don't want them to feel daunting so you don't feel like you could watch them every day. I'd love if you'd watch the videos every day. Put them on in the background. Listen to them a couple of times if you can. Would love for you to check out the videos, boost my numbers. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please check it out. Subscribe, turn on the notifications so you'll know when I'm on live and you can join me. And I will come back hopefully tomorrow, hopefully with a live and a Vlogmas video or one of the two. And I look forward to seeing you then, look forward to hearing from you then, what you've been reading, how you've been keeping, and I hope it's all well. So that's me for today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.